Is er maar even.
Ja.
Is het dan?
Say that.
Alright,
All right, thanks, Ed. All right. So we're going to look at what we call end behavior of graphs of polynomials. End behavior, we mean the far right, positive infinity, and the far left, negative infinity. All right. We're also going to find mins and maxes of these polynomials. So we've done parabolas, which are quadratics. We're getting into higher degrees. All right. So here's different degrees that we're getting into here. We've talked about linears, straight lines. They have a degree of 1, and quadratics, which are the parabolas, they have a degree of 2. But we've got degree of 3 functions, polynomials, which are called cubic. And then we've got degree of 4, which are called quartic, like a quartet if you're a musician. And then a degree of 5 we call quintic. All right. In a degree of 3, there's 2 turning points, or a min down here and a max. Okay. A parabola has a min or a max if it opens down. Okay. Quartic function, we have 3 turning points. So in this picture, we have 1 max and 2 mins. Sometimes it might look like an M, where you have 2 maxes and 1 min. All right. And then, so if you have a degree of 4, you have 3 turning points. And a lot of times a degree of 4 will have 4 zeros. It'll cross the x-axis in 4 spots. A lot of times a degree of 3 will have 3 zeros. It'll cross 3 spots. Okay, so we're looking at these higher degree polynomials. Okay, and we're going to be looking for mins and maxes. We're also going to be looking for the zeros, where it crosses the x-axis. Okay, so if it has a degree of 4, it has 1 less turning points, 3 turning points, where it changes direction. Okay, if we're looking at this left to right, this quintic one, degree of 5, it's increasing, and then it changes direction to decreasing, and then it increases again, and decreases, and turns again. So it has 4 turns, 4 changes in direction. And it could have 5 zeros. It crosses the x-axis in 5 spots. And that's not always what's going to happen. But as far as the zeros, but it will have 4 different changes in direction. So this one has 2 maxes and 2 mins. All right, and our calculator can find all those for us. All right, our graphing calculator. All right, so again, end behavior I talked about already. It's at the far right towards positive infinity. Is it going up or is it going down? That's all we're looking at for end behavior. And then the far left towards negative infinity. It's either going up or it's going down. Okay? So to figure out end behavior, you can look at the problem. Okay? Just look at the problem. Get it in the right order though, meaning like we did for our long division and synthetic last week, we did it from biggest degree, highest exponent, down to the constant, right? So get it in order, first of all, make sure it's in order. And then the leading coefficient, if it's positive, bigger than 0, and that leading coefficient is the number in front of your first term. If it's positive, the far right is always going up. Okay? If that leading coefficient. So that's what I look at first. Once I have it in the right order, if it's a positive number in front, then I know the far right is going up. Okay? If the degree is odd, meaning it's to the 3rd or to the 5th or to the 7th power, that first term, that means the far left is going in the opposite direction. Odd starts with an O, and opposite direction. Opposite starts with O, right? If your degree is even, second degree, fourth degree, sixth degree. All right? Then they're going in the same direction always. So if it's a positive leading coefficient, the far right's going up, so is the far left. Okay? Just like our parabolas. We looked at our A value. If it was a positive A value, we knew it went up, right? That's what we're looking at, that first number. Okay? If our leading coefficient is negative, less than 0, that means the far right's going down. Okay? If it's an odd degree polynomial, that means the far left's going up, the opposite direction. O for odd, O for opposite. If it's got an even degree, like a parabola, right? Second power, right? The far left's going the same direction, to the fourth, to the sixth. So just look at the first term once it's in the right order. If it's a positive number, the far right's going up. If the exponent's an even number, they're both going up. If it's a negative number, both going down. If it's even degree exponent, okay? Odd exponent, they're going different directions, opposite directions. Okay? So, is this in the right order, first of all? Okay. So, what's the leading coefficient? -1. What's the degree? 4, right? So, since it's a negative leading coefficient, what's the far right doing? Going down. I always do that first. You can just do arrows for me. You don't have to say up, down. You can just write arrows. Okay, since it's even, what's the far left doing? They're going the same direction, right? When they're even degree, same direction. And all we're looking at is this first term. The leading coefficient was negative, so far right's going down. The degree was an even number, so the far left's going down. Okay? Again, leading coefficient was -1, degree 4. Okay? Pretty easy stuff. This is the easy part. Probably a B here. All right. Is it in the right order? Biggest exponent down to the smallest? Yeah. So I look at this first term. All right. What's the LC? The coefficient? 2. What's the degree? 5. Everyone okay with that? Okay. Since my leading coefficient's positive, what's the far right doing? Towards positive infinity. Going up. All right. Since it's an odd degree, what's the far left doing? It's going down. Odd degree, opposite directions, your ends. Okay? Making sense? You can do that. Okay? And behaviors just at the very end of each. So it's like this, or like this, or like this, or like this. Right? Do my dance. Done?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. All right. Do we need to do some more? We got this. We good on that? All right. Cool. All right. Now, look at the picture. All right. Odd or even degree? Opposite directions. Odd or even degree? Odd. Opposite directions, odd degree, right? All right. And positive or negative leading coefficient. Far right's going down, so that's negative. You don't have to actually tell me what the degree is or the leading coefficient. You just have to tell me odd or even, positive or negative, looking at it. Okay? Now, it's got crosses 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 places. It's probably a degree of 5. Is that an odd number? Yeah, but you don't have to worry about that. right, how about this one? Positive or negative, odd or even? Even, why? They're going the same direction, all right? Leading coefficient, positive or negative? Positive. The far right, going up. Okay, so be able to look at the whole polynomial and tell me that stuff. Actually draw which opposite or same. Or if you look at it, tell me odd or even and positive or negative for leading coefficient degree. All right? Pretty easy so far. Yeah, this is review stuff from last year too. All right. This one, odd or even for degree? Opposite directions, right? Leading coefficient, positive or negative? Negative. Far right's doing what? Going down. Okay, the far right is the one that tells us positive or negative. Okay? All right. All right, now that you've studied factoring, solving polynomial equations, and behavior, you can graph a polynomial function. Well, we're going to graph them using our calculators, okay? It says find the real zeros and y-intercepts, plot the x and y-intercepts, make a table for several x values that lie between the real zeros, plot the points from your table, determine the end behavior of the graph, sketch the graph. Okay, that's the old way. Back in the day when I had to do it, I had to figure all that stuff out. Well, I didn't have a graphing calculator. Okay, but you have a graphing calculator. Just put it in your calculator. Okay, but then we have to find all those. Okay, so I go to my calculator, and how do I graph something in my calculator? What button do I start with? Yeah, a y equals button, right? So hit your y equals button, and just put that in there. So x to the third, you got to use this caret button here, right above divide. And then plus 4x, you got a squared button, but if you want to use the caret button for squared, you can. Plus x. Remember, x is right here, next between stat and alpha, and then minus 6. Hit enter, and then hit graph. Well, I don't have my normal window. So how do I get to my normal window? You guys remember? Zoom 6 will get you if you don't have it, like mine isn't. So mine, go to Zoom 6, which is the standard window. It gives you that one. Okay? So let me just get rid of this shade here. I think I've got, yeah, I got it there. I like my picture better than that one. Oops. Let's get rid of that blue mark. Just cover that up with that. All right. So we put it in our calculator. There's a picture. How do I get this? Table, right? That's second graph. Okay? So just a little review here. Second graph is your table, and then it gives you some values. Okay? So I'll put the same table as on my calculator that's already over there. Okay? So the zeros is when it crosses the x-axis. Okay? That's these points. There, there, and there. Which is also in my table when y is 0. At -3, -2, and at 1. All right, so sometimes you can find them. Usually I go to the table. I look at the graph. It looks like a -2, -3. Sometimes it's not. Okay? Sometimes it's not going to be whole numbers like our table shows. All right? So going back to answering this question, the zeros are -3, 0, -2, 0, and 1, 0. Now the y-intercept is where it crosses the y-axis, right? So that's when x is 0. Okay? So that would be this one. Okay? And if you having trouble finding that, you know, the easy way is just go to the table and look for when x is 0. But you can always put 0 in place of x. But you guys from past experience should know that the constant is always the y-intercept. Because that means if I put 0 in for x, all those answers are 0, right? So it's always the constant at the end. Right? Trevor, you should have that phone away, right? Do I need to take it from you and not give it back to you?
No.
I didn't think so. All right. Questions? All right. You can also go to this to find those if they don't show up. If they didn't show up in the table, all right. If you go to second trace and looking for zeros, that's number 2. Okay. So let's just say I'm looking for one of them. So I'm just going to go to 2. All right. And let's just find the -2 one. All right. Right now it's at the y-intercept. Whenever you try this, it'll start at the y-intercept the first time you try it. Okay. So it asks you for left bound, right bound, and then guess. Right, Nathan Miles? Okay. The calculator knows there's more than one 0. So it's asking you to give it some boundaries to look for this 0. All right? So if I'm looking for the -2, 0, you know, right? We know what the answer is, but I just want to go through the procedure here to help you. I want to move my cursor left of that 0. Okay? So I hit the left arrow key. Hitting the left and right arrow key will move the cursor along the graph. Okay? So I'm going to hit my left arrow key, and you can see it's moving. And as it's moving, these numbers under here are changing. It tells you what point it's at right now. It's at -1.06, -3.74. Okay? So you can look to see where your cursor is, because sometimes it goes out of your view. These two numbers tell you where it's at. Okay. So am I left of -2 right now? Yeah. Right? So that's what it's at. I'm going to make that left boundary now, because I know I'm left of that 0 I'm looking for. Then it asks for the right boundary. Right? So I got to get right of that 0 I'm looking for. So I'm going to hit my right arrow key till I'm to the right of that 0. And now I'm right of it. Okay, below it. Okay, looking for that. Then it'll say guess. Now when I hit enter, it should give me the point -2, 0 for x and y. Okay, so that's how you can find a 0 if it's not a whole number. Sometimes it doesn't show up in your table because it might be -1.5, or it might be 4.25. Okay, so that's what you're going to do if it's not in your table. Table's the first place to look. Okay, and when you're looking for the zeros, you're looking for when the y is 0, because that means it's on the x-axis. The x-axis, where it crosses your graph, crosses the x-axis, are the zeros. Okay, when you want to find the y-intercept, go to your table, and that's whenever the x is 0. Okay. So what I'm going to ask you to do on your quiz Thursday is to find the zeros, find the y-intercept, and find the min and the max. And down here, and it might be that same y-intercept, all right? Which your calculator could do that for you as well. Okay? We'll do that in a few minutes. Questions so far? All right, so we're just going to punch it in our calculator for this graph part. All right? then I think they have a picture of it. But again, our calculator finds far right. Yeah, there's a sketch of it. Far right is going up because it's a positive 1. And since it's odd, the far left's going down. Okay? Which is what we thought. When it's odd degree, they go opposite directions, right? So this one's looking like this. All right? You guys okay? So here's another one. What's the y-intercept? 6. So it's that easy to find that, right? So let's put in our calculator. Get our y equals. I already got the x cubed. It's minus 2x squared this time. Minus 5x plus 6. Okay, so it's very similar to the one we just did. All right. The zeros look like -2, +1, and +3. To make sure, I'm going to go to my table. So I'm going to hit second graph. There's -2. I want to see if I can get all 3 of them on there. Yeah. Okay. So there's a 0. There's a 0, and there's a 0, right? -2, 0, 1, 0, and 3, 0. Okay, we knew what our y-intercept was, right? By looking at the problem. Okay. And as we go from there. All right. You could write it in factored form, but you don't have to. Factored form, though, I don't think I asked you to do that, but if it's -2, 0, I can write x plus 2. If it's 1, 0, I can write x minus 1. If it's 3, 0, I write x minus 3. That would be factored form of that. I don't ask you that this week, though. All right? And then we go from there. End behavior, there's a sketch of it. We already saw it on our calculator. All right? All right, how do you find the mins and the maxes of these? Okay? Calculator does it again. All right? Again, maxes are when it's very top, when it's going up, and then it changes direction and starts going down. Min is when it looks like this. All right, it's going down and it starts going back up. All right, sometimes there's more than one. Okay? So here's one. I'll put that in my calculator. So we need 2x to the third minus 18x plus 1. You gotta get rid of that 6. Hit graph. All right, so that one went out of sight. Okay? They changed this picture, they changed the y max to 25 and the y min to -5. And they went by 5s. Okay? The way you can do that is go to window. Okay? Right now, the standard window is going from -10 to +10 on your x by 1s and -10 to +10 on your y by 1s. Okay? If I want to make my graph look like this, I can change this stuff. All right? They went from -5 to 5. All right? So you just hit -5, enter, 5. Goes by 1s, you can tell. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then they're going from negative 25 to positive 25, and they're going by fives. If you look, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. Okay? You can set it up however you want if you want to see it. You don't have to see the whole thing. Okay, but that's what we're seeing right here. Okay? So that's up to you. That's the window button. You don't have to do that. If you want to keep it at zoom 6, it's okay. You'll still be able to find these max and mins. All right. So this is a what? What's this one? That's a max. What's this one? That's a min. We all okay with that? Okay. So I'll do it on my calculator that you can't actually see them. All right? Just like we found zeros, we're going to find the min and max in the second trace calculate menu. Number 3 is minimum. We'll just do that first. So I hit 3. Again, it starts at the y-intercept. Left bound means where should you be? Left or right of the point you're looking for? Left. Okay? So it's down here somewhere. Is the cursor left of it right now? See, my cursor's up here. Let's do it in green. Is that left of the blue point? Yeah. So I'm already there. I can just hit enter because I know I'm left of it. All right? Then it asks for right bound. That means I've got to get this green X over here somewhere. Does that make sense? So I just hit my right arrow key and I watch the Y values will go down, and then all of a sudden you'll see the Y values start going up. All right? When you see it start going up, you know you're right of it. You understand what I just said? I'm left of it now. I hit my right arrow key. It's going to go down, and then it's going to start coming back up. Straight. Yeah.
You want to give me a hint?
No.
Come on, I don't know how to do long division.
That's too bad.
Come on, you can't even tell me the first step.
Divide.
Well, yeah.
That by that.
Come on.
All right, so I'm hitting my right arrow key. Look, Y went to negative 2. Now it's at negative 6. Now it's at negative 9, negative 13, negative 15, negative 17, negative 19, negative 19, negative 19, negative 18, negative 15, negative 11. What's happening? It started to go up, right? I don't even see it yet, though. Do I need to see it? I don't have to see it. You just watch that Y value. If you want to hit it a couple more times, it'll show up. There it is. If you want to hit it till you see it, that's okay. Just don't hold it because you might miss it. It might go real fast. So just kind of tap it. All right, I'm right of it. Hit enter, guess, hit enter. So my min is, we'll just go to tenths. 1.7, negative 19.8. They're not always going to be whole numbers. That's okay. All right? So you can still find it even though you can't actually see it. You with me on that? Okay. Max. All right? It's going to start, when I do this, it's going to start here at this point where I just found. Okay? So I'm going to hit second trace again. And number 4 is max. Okay, left bound. Well, it's down here right now. Okay, it's at that min point. So is my cursor left of the max point? So I'm going to have to hit what arrow key to get it to the left of it? The left arrow. Okay, so just hit it and it'll come around and you'll see it. There it goes. Okay, now, it's going up. How will I know when it's left of it? Going up, and then it's gonna do what? It's gonna start coming down. Does that make sense? So it's at 8.5, 11.9, 15, 17.7, 19.8, 21, 21.7, 21.4, 20, 17. What's happening? It's going down. So am I left of it? Yeah. So I'm just going to hit enter, even though I don't see it. Now right of it, it's going to do what? It's going to start going up, and then what? Start coming down again. So 17, again, I'm just looking at the Y's. That's making it, we're looking up and down now. 20, 21, 21, 21, 19, 17, 15. I know it's doing what? Going down, so it's right of it. Hit enter, and then hit enter for the answer. Negative 1.7, 21.8. That's how you find mins and maxes. Okay? When I give you your quiz on Thursday, I'm going to ask for your y-intercept, your min and max, and also your x-intercepts. Okay, you have to do all that. There's like 2 problems you have to do. Okay? So 2 graph problems, you got to find all those and label them. Okay? So, end behavior, leading coefficient, positive, negative, odd or even degree, that kind of stuff. This, and then you're going to have to do stuff like this, okay? It says if P is a polynomial function, P of A and P of B are not equal for A less than B when P takes on every variable between A and B and so on. So, don't worry about what it means. I want to show you what it means, all right? Here's the problem you're going to have. Is there a real zero between 4.4 and 4.5? Okay? So, all you have to do is this. No, that's not what I wanted to do. You have to find P of 4.4 and P of 4.5. So, how do I find those 2 answers if this is P? Plug them in. That's all, right? So, in your calculator, you're going to do 4.4 squared minus, to the 4th times negative 4 times, or minus 4 times 4.4 to the 3rd minus 2 times 4.3, 4.4 to the 2nd plus 4.4 minus 8. All right, so go to my calculator, hit second quick to get out of there, and just put that in my calculator. Minus 4.4 to the 3rd, minus 2, 4.4 squared, plus 4.4 minus 8. You guys get that number? Anybody do it with me? We got 27? Did I do it right? 4 times, then minus 4 times 4.4 to the 3rd, minus 2, 4.4 squared. Yeah. All right, so I get a negative number. All right? Whatever that was. All right, now, can here's the easy part. Easier. Okay? If I hit second enter, it gives me the same thing I just punched in. But I need to change the 4.4s to what? 5. So I gotta, if I go up and just change those to a 5. So it's a little quicker. Maybe you guys are quicker than me.
What do you put?
Second enter. Has it pop back up? What? When he gets back. And then I get a 1.56, whatever that was. Right? Okay. So negative 8 point, not 8, but 8.24. All right. It says, is there a real zero between 4.4 and 4.5? All right. So if we think about this and say, here's 4.4 and here's 4.5 on our x-axis, right? At 4.4, where's the point? Above or below the x-axis? When it's 4.4, what's the y value? Negative 8. So it's down here, right? Down here somewhere, right? And then when it's 4.5, where's it at? Above. Here somewhere. If I were to connect those, is there a real zero? Does it cross the x-axis? Yes. So all you're doing is doing the two numbers into the problem. One answer needs to be positive. One answer needs to be negative if you say yes. If they're both positive or both negative, you say no. That's all. All that for that. Okay? Here's the question. Is there a real zero between?
Oh, what was the first thing?
That was just telling you this.
Oh, okay.
So don't mess with it. Don't worry about it.
I'm here then.
Okay. All right, the last thing. You're going to get a problem that looks like this. Okay? You're going to get a problem that looks like that. And you're going to be asked, determine where the graph of this crosses the x-axis and where the graph intersects but does not cross. So sometimes the graph bounces off the x-axis. Okay? It says intersects but does not cross. I call that bounce. All right? Well, when you have a polynomial in factored form like this one, all right, what's the zero? What makes that 0? 4, right? What makes this 0? We all remember that. We've done that lots of times, right? Okay. If it's an odd, it crosses. Actually goes through. Okay? If it's even, it bounces off. That's all you got to know about that. Okay? If I put this in my calculator, yep, that's all you got to write. And put x minus 4 to the third times, figure it out, Joe? Nope. Too bad. All right, watch. It bounced at -3. It was hard to see, but it hit and it bounced. Bounced off. Okay? If you want to put it in the calculator, you can, but it's really that easy. Whatever, if the even exponent on your parentheses, it bounces, odd, it crosses. It's that easy. So, lots of stuff today, like I said. There's your homework. Going by fours, not that much. You're going to need your graphic calculator though. Picture of that page is in Canvas. Okay, Trevor, I'll see you fourth, right? Who else am I seeing fourth? Abby? Third? Yeah.
I don't know, I just remember people. I don't know. They work for you.